Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we're going to be taking a look at the progress view in SwiftUI. Now what is progress view? Well, progress view is a way to let users know that something is actually happening within your app, whether it be an indeterminate progress view to let them know that something's loading, and you don't quite know how long it's going to take, but you want to make sure the user knows that things are in fact happening. Or you can do a determinate progress indicator, and this will indicate, generally speaking, that there is something happening and that we know how long it's going to take, and we want to show you kind of the progress of where it's actually at doing what it's doing. You generally see a progress view with with like a bar and an actual like visual progress when you're transferring files from one place to another, when you're downloading stuff, that kind of thing. You'll generally see a loading spinner and indeterminate activity indicator progress view when fetching things from the network or that kind of thing. All right, or preparing a download and then before it actually starts downloading and stuff like that. All right, so for this we're going to need some state. And I've already created a state variable called progress. It is of type float, and we're starting it at 0. Now, the progress view goes from 0 to 1 in terms of its value, so keep that in mind. All right, let's go into Xcode and actually create a progress view. The first kind of progress view we're going to take a look at is the most simple one. This is an indeterminate progress view that doesn't take any parameters whatsoever, no state, nothing. And we can do this by saying progress view like that. Save, run. And here is our progress view. You can see it's a little loading spinner. This indicates to the user that something's happening, right? These are usually rendered conditionally. So we'll learn how to render things conditionally later on. But that is one thing you can do. Now, we can also create a progress view that contains a value. So we'll say value. Now this takes in an optional binary floating point. We can say here, I want to give it progress, like that. All right, and we can save this. Run it. And there is our little progress bar. VoiceOver will announce it as a progress indicator, and it'll also announce its progress. Pretty simple stuff so far. And the reason why we wanted our progress to be a state variable is because oftentimes it's going to change, right? You want to be able to change that value, so at state is the way to do it, to make sure that the UI updates when that changes. Now, if we, if we take a look at some of its initializers, inside of the code completion. Or in fact, what we could also do is we could also go into Safari or Chrome or whatever browser you want to use and say ProgressView Apple Developer Documentation, right? And we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the other initializers here. We want topics. Here we go. Okay, so creating an indeterminate progress view. You can see that blank in it is precisely what we used to create that loading spinner. Now we can give we can also give our indeterminate progress view a label, and this will be, this will be some kind of view. For a label, generally, just to be clear, you're going to be using something like a label view or a text view. Again, you can also do just a normal string. Instead, if you don't want to use a separate view, now creating a determinate progress view, we can give it a progress object. We can give it a value, and we can also specify. Right. So we can give it a value and all that stuff like we did before. But if we take a look at here in the documentation, you can see we also can specify what number the total for the progress view goes up to. So by default, it goes from 0 to 1, but you can say 100 or 50 or 20 or whatever the case might be. Right? So let's see here. You can give it the value, total, and label all in the same initializer as well. Right. You can also give it a current value label and all that stuff. There's all kinds of ways that you can initialize a progress view. Now, why did I show you the documentation instead of showing you in the code completion? Well, part of it is Xcode 16 beta code completion hasn't been cooperating with me lately, for one. But the primary reason, the big reason, is I want to make sure that you guys get it hammered into your head, right, that it's okay to read the documentation. You don't have to memorize this stuff. All right? So let's go ahead and just create a simple progress view where we have a let's say download or self self-destruct progress or self-destruct. We'll just leave it at that. And then we'll say value progress like that. And for the hell of it, we'll also give it a total. this total we'll say is 100. And then we'll also give it a current value label, because why not? Not gauge. What? Well, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, we'll just leave that. We'll just leave that out. Okay, so now that we have this, there's one thing I do want to show you, and that is the progress style modifier. There are a few modifiers here that we can use, or rather a few styles that we can use. So if we say progress style, or progress view style, we can do a dot, and we have automatic. We have circular. We have linear, and that's it. Now, what will happen if we do a circular style? We can save this and run it. Now we do have our progress view here, and this is what its circular style will look like. Let's change the progress, and we'll see exactly what happens then. We'll say 75. 75 out of a total of 100. And here's what it will look like. On macOS, the circular style shows kind of like a gauge sort of style, where it's the progress bar isn't a line, but it's in a circle and all that kind of stuff. This is useful if, for example, you need to have a progress view in a toolbar or in a list. You need to have a compact way of showing some progress happening. On iPadOS and iOS and stuff, the circular style is just the indeterminate progress indicator. And it doesn't really do much else other than that. And linear is exactly what we saw before, where it was kind of in that line instead of a circle. So we can say linear and run it. And here we are. And so that is our linear progress view style. All right, so that pretty much does it for this video on the progress view in SwiftUI. Thank you all so very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you liked it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. That helps out the channel either way. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well and ring that notification bell for updates when new videos go live. Make sure you also follow me on Twitter for more stuff from me, as well as including video updates or just other general stuff, including accessibility talk and all that. I post a lot on Twitter. So anyways, that pretty much does it. Thank you all so very much for watching. We'll see you at the next one.